hard. Everybody here sent me a card. And, you know, wrote on it, their names and everything, man. Made me feel good. I still got it.
Open meetings.
I mean, from the zoning board?
Yeah, not just the zoning board, but from the city. Yeah, I was really surprised.
It's certified.
I didn't know,
How you take it over here? You take it online.
Oh, God, did I? I must have. I guess I must have. I don't remember. Who did that?
What's his name, the short guy to be talking?
Open meetings, did you get all that packet?
Yeah, he signed it and go to the rest of his people.
That's Mr. Schwartz, he's dotting his i's and crossing his t's.
Yeah, he called me in. I got about 30 days to do it. I think I took that off for some reason.
Some other
Really has to.
Oh, boy. What you guys doing after work? I mean, after this, you going back to work?
No. We may go over to the Knights of Columbus or something.
Nice of
Or
Columbus, where is
American
that?
Legion, rather.
Yeah, the American Legion is pretty cool. And you watch, Mom watch say 2 o'clock.
There's when we go by. Yep, 25. We gotta wait for everybody to get here. Mike's not up here.
There's a
Oh, goodness.
Harold knows there must be something controversial here.
And I saw all of this, Jim. I said, oh my God, how many people gonna be outside? And I was like, what?
There he is.
Well, this is the one day I have to get out of here.
What's the case number? 30.
Well, we didn't used to get, we used to always get this much, and then we stopped getting as much. And I requested all of this because I don't have time to look at it online. I gotta have it in front of me. And you can't read it on. You can't control it. So I did request it.
Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of this board is final. In respect, it does not go to the mayor and the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory board to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferguson, Mr. McCall,
Aye.
Ms. Powers,
Here.
Mr. Riggs,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Here. Do we have any requests to digress from the agenda?
We do have one change to the agenda that's being requested. Do you want to first go through the minutes and some of the other items on the
Okay,
agenda
go
first?
ahead.
So the third item on the agenda, if everyone's following along, is the approval of the minutes. There would be approval of the August 16th, 2018 Zoning Board of Appeals minutes.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Pull the board.
Mr. Riggs,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley,
Aye.
Ms. Powers,
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Aye.
The next item, Mr. Chair, on your agenda, item 4, is citizens to be heard on agenda items. And this is a section of the meeting agenda for anyone wanting to speak regarding that are listed on the agenda, except for those items that are already listed under public hearings. I think most of our business today is a public hearing, so they would be considered. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, and staff and the Zoning Board of Appeals do not generally respond to any public comments. But any speakers who engage in any conduct injurious to the harmony of the zoning board meeting shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
Is there anybody here to speak on
Let's proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, so there is a request, Mr. Chair, under new business to take item under old business, no public hearing, which is the series of variations to allow construction of a future automobile fueling station located at 408 Collins Street. That's item 8A under old business, no public hearing, and that would be moved up to this point in the agenda. Is there?
Proceed, go ahead.
Is there, you have to vote to accept that
Anybody
change to
objecting
the
to that?
agenda?
No objections, go ahead.
You okay with that? Or do you want to vote? Okay. All right, so we'll take item, case number 2018-30, again, a series of variations to allow construction of a future automobile fueling station, 408 Collins Street. That's going to be later in your packet.
Again.
And bear with me 1 second while I locate that. The petitioner, in this case, this is case 2018-30, the applicant is BSTP Midwest LLC. Owner of the property is Gregory Bolin, Amador and Edelmira Jimenez, and Octavio and Martina Cardenas. Location 408 Collins Street. Petitioner is requesting a series of variations to allow construction of a future automobile fueling station. The ZBA makes the final decision for these types of variation requests. At the August 16th, 2018 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, the petitioner requested that this matter be tabled in order to work with city staff on the number of variations being requested for the development project. The variations requested now include 1, major street setback from 80 feet from center line of Collins Street to 77.8 feet from center line. 2, a rear yard setback reduction from 25 feet to 15.6 feet for the main convenience store building. And 3, an automobile service station setback from 100 feet from a public or institutional use reduced to 63 feet. Under site-specific information, the subject site currently includes 5 parcels of land for a total of 1.36 acres, along with 280 linear feet of frontage along Collins Street and 204 linear feet of frontage along Jackson Street. The Plan Commission will hear requests later this afternoon for an approval of a preliminary plat of subdivision to consolidate all 5 of these lots into one single lot, and approval of a zoning class reclassification for 3 parcels from R2 single family to B3 general business, and approval of alleyway vacations again this afternoon. The 5 parcels include vacant land 2 circa 1910 single-family houses, and 1 circa 1851 three-unit house. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is zoned B3 general business and R-2 single-family residential, and that is currently vacant land and residential. To the south is B3 general business and B1 neighborhood business, and that is currently a gas station and also residential. To the east is R-2 single-family residential and is currently occupied by residential. To the west is B1 neighborhood business, and that is currently commercial and residential. Applicable regulations include the sections of our ordinance dealing with major street setbacks, rear yards, garages and automobile service stations, and also the findings of fact supporting a variation. Under discussion, the applicant, BSTP Midwest LLC, is the contract purchaser and is requesting these approvals in order to develop a future gas station that will have a 4,400 square foot convenience store with parking for 23 vehicles and a 5,360 square foot canopy that can accommodate the fueling of 20 vehicles. The business expects to employ 20 to 25 people and generate roughly $350,000 annually in sales tax revenue. A conceptual site plan is attached in your packet. The applicant's reasoning for requesting these variances is attached. Since the tabling of this agenda item at the August 16th zoning board meeting, the petitioner has modified the site plan and reduced the number of requested variances from 7 to 4. Should say 3. Eliminated variances include perimeter landscape buffer along the northeast corner, and that now meets the ordinance requirement of 15 feet. It was 10 foot. Interior landscape island minimum size, that now meets the ordinance requirement at 10 to 14 feet width. It was 3.5 to 9 foot. And then also the off-street loading space, it now meets the ordinance requirement with 1 loading space being provided at the southwest corner of the site. That previously was 0. They've now indicated that on the site plan in the lower left corner of the screen. The petitioner still requests the following variances: major street setback, rear yard setback, and automobile service station setback. Under major street setback, the revised plan shifts the canopy 2 feet eastward, which lessens the major street variance request from 4.2 feet to 2.2 feet. The canopy of the proposed fueling area now has a setback of 77.8 feet from the center line of Collins Street. The zoning ordinance requires 80 feet from the center line of any road designated as major or minor arterial on the official street classification map. Collins Street and Jackson Street are both minor arterials. The canopy now meets the center line setback requirement from Jackson Street. Under the second variation, the rear yard setback, the convenience store is situated 15.6 feet from the rear lot line, and the zoning ordinance requires a rear setback of 25 feet when a general business district abuts a residential zone. And then the third variance is the automobile service station setback. The zoning ordinance requires a separation distance of 100 feet from buildings or structures that are used as public garages, automobile repair shops, or automobile service stations to those of a public or institutional use, measured from building to building. The Redeemed Church of God in Christ at 410 East Clay Street, just to the northeast of the site, is located 63 feet from the proposed convenience store and 170 feet from the fueling canopy. This provision of the zoning ordinance dates from the 1960s, when automobile service stations functioned differently from how gas stations do today. The proposed project will not offer any on-site auto repair. The proposed use is consistent with existent and emerging land uses along Collins Street. The exterior of the proposed buildings must meet the city's non-residential design standards, which require the use of 100% masonry materials on the exterior of the facade, and landscaping will need to be installed that meets the requirements of the city's landscape and screening ordinance. City staff is currently working with the applicant on the design of the 2 proposed ground signs, and the developer has agreed to wrap the piers of the canopy in masonry material that matches the convenience store. Access into the gas station will consist of a right turn in and right turn out ingress and egress along Jackson Street and Collins Street, and a full point of access along East Clay Street. Because the proposed development has frontage on 2 state highways, which is State Route 171 on Collins Street and US Route 6 on Jackson Street, IDOT has reviewed site plans in addition to the city's Department of Public Works. A full copy of the traffic impact study is available on the city's website. The developer and its representatives held a neighborhood meeting on Tuesday, August 2nd at the Joliet Public Library, Ottawa Street Branch, to discuss the project and answer questions. Approximately 10 people were in attendance. And the developer and its representatives also, or I should say the attorney representing the project, also attended the city's August 2018 Historic Preservation Commission meeting to answer questions and discuss findings of the historic assessment of the existing building. And that's available on the city's website. At this meeting in August, the commission requested that the developer work with city staff to explore relocation options for the circa 1851 2-story limestone building that currently sits at 411 through 413 East Jackson Street. The commission also requested that the developer complete a historic resource survey inventory form on the building and donate the limestone to the city should the building ultimately be demolished. The attorney indicated that the developer will likely comply with both requests. The city owns vacant property approximately 3 blocks to the east, which is large enough to accommodate the building. City staff is in the process of obtaining cost estimates from 2 companies that specialize in building moving. Other costs would include a new foundation for the building, a new above base flood elevation mechanical room, and architect and surveyor fees, utility connection fees, and real estate transaction fees, and that would be for the sale of the building. If the zoning board desires to approve the aforementioned variations, the following conditions should be considered. 1, that the piers of the fueling canopy shall be wrapped in masonry material that matches the masonry used on the facade of the convenience store. And 2, that the ground-mounted signs shall be monument-style signs that incorporate masonry material that matches the masonry used on the facade of the convenience store. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Michael Hanson, representing BTSP, the applicant here. We also have Michael McKinnon, Vice President, who is present with us as well. As you recall, we were here last month. The Commission had some questions on our variations. We met with staff. We pared down those variations, revised our site plan, and we believe that our plan is a good one for that location. Creates great economic benefit. I'm here to answer any questions.
What's the progress on the relocation of that? Because at the last meeting, there weren't, that I remember, any objections to the variations that we're granting, but it was mostly concerned for the future of that house, the Cassidy house.
That's still in discussion as far as the relocation possibilities, and that's where we stand right now. So.
It's my understanding that the city might donate some land?
The city, as Mr. Hanson indicated, it's still in discussion. The city, we've pointed out that the city owns vacant land that is physically large enough to accommodate this building should it be moved. The details are still being discussed as to who would be responsible for the move. I think that we appreciate the developer and the attorney's willingness to work with the city on exploring the feasibility of making that happen.
Okay.
So it hasn't been determined who would pay those fees for the moving, I mean, the cost of the move or the fees involved, the architect, surveyor fees, all that stuff. That's all in discussion, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
The only thing I'm asking the audience and the board to remember is that we are voting on 3 variations of use and not on the building. That is not the primary concern that we're voting on. That will happen this afternoon at the Planning Commission when they're going to make recommendations to the City Council on the preliminary plat and on the reclassification of the property. All we're voting on today are these 3 variations of use. Okay, any questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Is anyone opposed? I I see a hand somewhere.
It's for it.
Anyone opposed? No discussion, no questions by the board. Chair closes the petition of the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the zoning board, the next item on your agenda is under new business. These are public hearings. Item 5A is a petition 2018-34. It's a special use permit request to allow a staffing agency in a vacant commercial tenant space located at 232 South Larkin Avenue. The applicant is HR Metrics Incorporated, Sonia Diodato. The owner is Ali A. Shalash, location 232 South Larkin. The petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow a staffing agency in a vacant commercial tenant space. This request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board. Under site-specific information, the approximately 15,950 square foot site contains a 6,200 square foot 5-unit commercial building that was built in 2004 and an accessory parking lot. The tenant space in question is approximately 1,440 square feet. In August 2003, the Zoning Board approved a series of variations for the site, including reducing the number of required parking spaces from 24 to 19. And in 2006, the Zoning Board recommended to deny, and City Council ultimately approved, a special use permit for a car title loan establishment at this location. The property is currently zoned B3 General Business District. The petition was filed on August 10th of 2018. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character are as follows. To the north, the zoning is commercial B3 in its general business district. To the east is residential R2, which is single family residential. To the south is commercial B3, general business district. And to the west is commercial B3, general business district. Applicable regulations include the general business district regulations, as well as special uses in the B1 neighborhood business district, as well as criteria for issuance of a special use permit. The petitioner, HR Metrics, is requesting this for a staffing agency. HR Metrics will employ 2 to 3 full-time employees and will be open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., although those hours are always subject to change. The petitioner has stated that around 5 to 10 visitors are expected per day, which includes those dropping off applications and those attending the orientation meetings that are held daily. All applicants attend an orientation once they submit an application. Job applicants are typically placed in full-time, long-term positions in such areas as distribution or office support. HR Metrics also has an office location in Shorewood that has been open since 2014. The site currently has 21 parking spaces for the 5-unit building, whose tenants include Liberty Tax Service, Boost Mobile, and SR22 Auto Insurance. A plat of survey and floor plans are attached. Should the property be conditions that are in your packet, number 1, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. 2, that the special use permit granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 180 days. And the rest of that I will not read, but that's standard language concerning the termination and lapse of the use. Item 3, condition 3, is that a business license shall be obtained, and that concludes staff's report.
Mr. President? Yes. Will you come forward, please? I'll swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
May I have your name and address?
Sonia Diodato. Do you want my home address or my business address?
Okay. Any comments you'd like to make? Are you going to specialize in any special kind of employment, or are you affiliated with Any association or corporation?
Typically, the kind of employment that we offer is long-term, full-time employment.
And you have an office in Shorewood doing the same thing, right?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in the business?
We've been in business for 10 years and in the Shorewood location for approximately 4 years.
Is there a great need for this? I see, there's a great many of these going up. Is there that much employment activity in the Joliet area?
A lot of corporations and companies are electing to utilize staffing companies as additional resources to get and retain full-time employment.
Okay. Any questions by the board?
Yeah, let me ask you this. It's just gonna be temporary? It's no full-time jobs?
It's all full-time positions.
But-
It's long-term, and there are times when our customers do hire them on permanently.
When you say long-term, what are you saying? 6 months?
It could be years.
We have a lot of temporary companies here in town. I mean, so that's why I'm wondering, if a person, if they came in there, and could they get a full-time job, period, after temporary service? If they work for, just say, 90 days or 6 months, could
There
they
are
get?
those opportunities, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor, ask the board for discussion and a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
No.
Mr. Thompson?
No,
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Comes out a tie. No recommendation.
3-2.
It's not a quorum vote, so it goes to without any
It will
recommendation.
go without recommendation to the
Yeah.
city council.
Okay, let's move on.
And staff will be in touch regarding the date of the city council meeting.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda under item 5, new business public hearings, is item B, a petition 2018-35. This is a variation of use request to allow a banquet hall for small parties, which is a B3 general business use in an R2 single-family zoning district located at 1214 North Rayner Avenue. The applicant and owner in this project is Jaime and Norma Martinez. The location is 1214 North Rayner, and again, it's a variation of use to allow a small party banquet facility that also rents party supplies for off-premise use, which is a B3 use within the R2 district. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes a recommendation to the City Council for this type of request. Under site-specific information, the property consists of a 2,095 square foot, one-story brick structure and a large asphalt parking lot that were built for a tavern in unincorporated Will County in the 1940s. In 1962, the area was annexed into the city of Joliet and classified to R2 single-family residential zoning. In 1967, the city enacted an ordinance providing a 20-year amortization period for non-conforming uses. So in December of 1982, the city council approved a variation of use, which is in the packet, to allow a continuation of the existing tavern called My Three Sons. The tavern has since closed and the building has been vacant for a number of years. A variation of use to add a party supply store and carry-out restaurant at this location was approved by the zoning board in August 2017, but ultimately denied by the city council in September of 2017. The site remains zoned R-2 single-family residential. This case was filed on August 10th of 2018. Surrounding land use and zoning includes single-family residential properties that are zoned R-2 single-family on all sides. Applicable regulations include our provisions for variations of use. Under discussion, the petitioner is requesting this in order to allow the small party banquet facility, and they also rent party supplies for off-premise use within the vacant commercial building. The proposal is to convert the interior layout to include a kitchen, bathroom, storage room, and open banquet area. Plans are in the packet. The banquet proposal could accommodate small parties for celebrations such as baptisms, first communions, and birthdays. The petitioner has indicated that there will be no alcohol allowed on site. The rental business will rent tables, chairs, and inflatable bouncy houses for off-site parties that could be picked up on-site or delivered. The business will be operated by the Martinez family on Saturdays and Sundays only from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. Adequate off-street parking is available within the large asphalt parking lot. Existing privacy fencing remains adjacent to the surrounding residential properties. It should be noted that the petitioners canvassed some of the adjacent neighbors, and a large majority signed a petition in favor of the proposal, which is attached to the staff report. If conditions are attached, the following is recommended. Should the zoning board desire to grant the variation of use, the following conditions would be included. 1, that the existing off-street parking area remain and be maintained. That includes seal coating and striping when necessary. 2, that the existing 6-foot-high privacy fencing adjacent to the surrounding residential properties shall remain and be maintained. 3, that the hours of operation shall not be expanded from Saturday and Sunday, 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. 4, that alcohol shall not be permitted at banquets or on site. And 5, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the variation of use. And I would add a condition that if needed, a business license shall be maintained, shall be applied for. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner present? Want to come forward? Y'all gonna talk? Okay, swear you all in. Raise your right hands. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law? Names, addresses.
Jaime Martinez, 1505 Saddle Road, Illinois.
Into the mic, we have to record.
Martinez, 1505 Saddle Road, Illinois.
Alex Guzman, 518 Scribner, Joliet, Illinois, 60432.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
No comments.
Any questions by the board?
I'm questioning your hours, just Saturday and Sunday from 3 until midnight with no alcohol served. That just seems kind of strange to me. How do you plan to make that all work?
To be honest with you, it would be...
Go to the mic. Microphone.
Yes, it would be ideal to have alcohol, but as of right now, we just want to get a permit for just be able to do something, which is like a banquet hall. And yes, it would be harder to get people to get there, but we would make it work. And obviously, we have to.
And you're planning on renting materials there too, from 3 until midnight. I mean, that just all the hours seem a little.
No, I guess it wouldn't be renting it. I guess that would just be the site where we would store it. That would be about it. So we would have, let's say we have a party that's happening somewhere else. They call us, and then we just carry the stuff over there. And so that would be only just a place to keep it. That's about it.
I see. All right, thank you.
Like an
Do you intend to apply for a liquor license later?
To be really honest with you, I'm sure we would in the future.
This building has come up over the years many times. I remember back in the 60s when it was Remuda's. Diane Remuda was my first girlfriend. I used to sneak in the front door.
A lot of memories in that building.
Probably none we want to hear about either.
I can barely recall it. But anyway, the big problem back then, most of the neighbors that were here to object were more concerned rather than about the business than the fact that the premises wasn't well maintained and they wanted an enclosed garbage container and all that kind of stuff. So I'm more interested to see what the neighborhood has to say here. Are there any other questions by the board? Okay, is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? In favor?
He raised his hand over there.
Who's opposed?
He raised.
I can see an arm, but I can't see what belongs to it. Come on forward. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Name and address.
My wife and I have lived at 1213 Kelly for 50 years, we had gone through a lot of hell when that tap was open. And what usually happens back there is that the people inside, it gets too hot, you open up the back door, and then we get to hear all the noise and the music and rowdiness out in the tavern and parking lot. And then, I don't know how many times the police were called there over the years since we've been there. And it's, the way he sounds like he's going to try and slide a liquor permit through here and just nobody's going to notice it. We have seen too much bad things happen over there. 50 years we've been there.
How long has that building been empty? How long has the building been empty?
Oh, probably 2 years. It's been pretty nice, quiet, peaceful. No problem.
So you're objecting to what's happened in the past?
And
You're aware of the fact that if these people cause a disturbance or become a nuisance, that we can reject and pull back their permit. So you there as a neighbor and a complaining neighbor, but all you have to do is report it if it becomes a nuisance, and we could reverse any action that might be taken by this board. But don't you think it's fair to give them an opportunity at least to try?
Great.
Number of years.
I said, do you think it's unfair to give them no opportunity to even attempt to use the property?
Well, I don't like the way he's trying to slide in his liquor license off to the side here and present it as some kind of a party supply store. And in reality, I just have a gut feeling he's going to end up getting the liquor license. We're going back to where we were with the tavern and all the problems and.
Well, that's true, but you can report it, and if it does occur, we can rescind the permit, so. Okay.
It wouldn't be heard.
Thank you.
Because we've been there, like I say, 50 years, we've seen a lot.
We have,
You probably knew the Ramudas.
we have more than one.
Maybe he's the one that shot at me.
That way, COVID got shut all the time. We're
Run
really
it
flexible.
into the mic, please.
What I'm saying is that we have more than one unit installed in that building for AC purposes, heating. Everything is going to be conditioned so that way doors stay closed. Another thing is that we actually handed out our card, so if we get the permit, we're going to be pretty flexible with anybody that having a problem with how clean the parking lot is, with the noise. We're willing to work and make it work for everybody.
Okay, let's hear the other objector back there.
And Mr. Chair, if I may,
Can I say a couple more things?
Who else is objecting?
Mr. Chair, staff would like to just clarify something before we have any more testimony. In the record in the staff report that I just read, staff is recommending a condition 4 that there not be any alcohol permitted at banquets or on site. So that would preclude a liquor license should that condition carry forward.
But that has to go before the liquor commissioner, who's the mayor, so we have nothing.
Well, the zoning, this is a zoning matter that the council would take up. So ultimately, if that condition were to be enforced, they would not be able to apply for a liquor license.
Okay.
Just want the applicant to know that as well.
Right, I appreciate that. To be completely honest with you, at this point, we want to do something with the building because we already spent the money, and honestly, it looks nothing like that already. I wish you guys would have pictures, and I'm sure we turned some pictures. It looks nothing like that, and we're willing to invest even more money into it. And at this point, we just want to get something running.
Let's hear from the lady behind you there. Want to come forward?
I just wanted to make one last comment that the fence that parallels the alley is leaning probably a couple feet into the alley from previous snow plows, parking lot being cleared and all that. That needs to be straightened up. It's very bad condition. And I just want to bring that.
We can make that apart, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, do you want to come forward? You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Name and address?
Jessica Goins, and I live at 1219 North Green, right across the street from this building. My concerns is the alcohol. You said it's not going to be any, but if you got a banquet hall and you have a party, you're going to serve alcohol in there. And the hours that he have it till midnight, I mean, it's going to be all kind of noise and all kind of everything over there at that time of the night. So he's right. They didn't fix the building up. The building looks nice than it was before. It seems like they should have some other kind of business they can put it in besides a banquet hall in the middle of a residential area.
Thank you. Anyone else? Chair closes the petition to the floor. Ask the board for discussion and a motion.
How many people are you expecting to be in there if you had a banquet hall?
I would say about 100 people in there.
So it's never been inspected yet to give the fire marshal a number?
That's something we would look into. I know there's a lot more details to look into as, you know, if we get it approved. There's a lot more, you know, to go. Like I said, at this point, we want to get the permit first before we're doing anything.
Is there enough parking for 100 people?
Well, yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to drive a car. Usually, especially Hispanic families, you know, they're big families. That's another thing that, like I said, we see people parking outside the parking lot. We're going to have to reduce the amount of people. And there's just a lot of details that we'll definitely work with just to, you know, to make it work for everybody around the neighborhood.
Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Ms. Powers?
No.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
So this will move forward to the city council with a recommendation of approval, subject to the 5 conditions that were read into the record. Next item on the agenda under new business public hearings, item 5C, petition 2018-36. And this is an exception to allow solar panel farm as an accessory use at Chicagoland Speedway, located at 500 Speedway Boulevard. There, just for the record, there are going to be 4 petitions in a row here related to the same property. They're
Do we
all
have to vote on these separately, or?
Yes. They've filed 4 separate petitions because they wanted the ability, if you should have issues with one or more of these sites, that they be approved or denied separately. So petition 2018-36 is an exception to allow a solar panel farm as an accessory use at Chicagoland Speedway. The applicant here is Brian Emrich, Kalichi Design Group, and the owner is Raceway Associates LLC. There will be 4 locations proposed for the solar panel arrays within the Speedway complex. Those PIN numbers are in the staff report. I'll just briefly mention on the map here, the first case is the Northwest Pond. The second case is the helipad area. The third case is the East Central parking lot. And the 4th case is the Southeast outfield lot. Under site-specific information, the 4 sites in question are all located on different tax parcels within what is known as Chicagoland Speedway. Refer to the attached context map to view the 4 sites in relation to one another. All 4 parcels are zoned I-1 light industrial. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, they're either zoned I-1 light industrial, R1 single family residential, or unincorporated Will County. Surrounding land uses consist of agriculture, single family homes, and the Speedway and any accessory uses to the Speedway. Applicable regulations, the section of our ordinance dealing with zoning exceptions and variations. Under discussion, Kalichi Design Group, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, on behalf of IGS Solar, seeks a zoning exception to install a solar array system at 4 locations. A photovoltaic solar array is the complete power generating unit consisting of any number of PV modules and panels. I assume PV is photovoltaic. Refer to the attachment for explanations between an array, what is considered an array, a panel, and a module. So this is a lesson for everyone. The city's zoning ordinance does not have provisions for large solar arrays. Therefore, planning staff has determined that this type of use needs approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals as a zoning exception. The city zoning ordinance defines a zoning exception as a use permitted only after review of the application by the Board of Appeals, because the provisions of the zoning ordinance that cover conditions, precedent, or subsequent are not precise enough to all applications without interpretation. The solar arrays will be located in less utilized areas of the Speedway complex. Petition 2018-36 is for a floating solar array that would be installed at the northwest retention pond. 3 other petitions are for ground-mounted solar arrays, and you can refer to the attachment which has representative images of large solar panel developments. The petition includes a site plan and a landscape plan for all 4 locations. Access to 3 of the sites will be provided from a paved asphalt drive and will terminate at a concrete pad with electrical equipment. The site plan for the east central lot shows a gravel access drive. The city requires all driveways to be paved, and this will be a condition for approval. The 3 sites with ground-mounted arrays will have a 7-foot-high security fence. The developer intends to plant understory trees and large screening shrubs around each of the 4 solar array systems. The site plans identify the following number of panels at each location. The first petition, which is the northwest pond, would have 6,048 modules. The helipad location, the next petition, is 3,146 modules. The east central parking lot, that's the 3rd petition here, 5,070 modules. And the southeast outfield lot, the 4th petition, would have 15,808 modules. If the zoning board desires to approve the zoning exception, the following conditions should be considered for each of the petitions. 1, that a landscape plan for each of the 4 solar array sites shall be submitted for staff review and approval and shall include understory trees and large screening shrubs. 2, that the 7-foot-high security fence shall be comprised of black chain link material. And 3, that all access driveways shall be paved. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Petitioners present?
It's pretty big.
You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address. Lift up the mic. There you go.
My name is Austin Hahn. I own the company Collegiate Design Group. We are the applicant. Brian Emmerich is also here with me. He's the person who's listed as the applicant. And Matthew Nelson is with me from IGS Solar.
Okay, do you want to tell us something about what you're going to do?
We also submitted a video, a movie, showing the actual context of all 4 arrays. We brought a USB drive as well, if that's helpful.
Give that to them.
In hearing the conditions of approval, we do not object to any of the conditions. We also are not seeking any other relief under any of the ordinances on record, just so you're aware. We're primarily here to answer questions and also to, again, give a little bit of context to what this is going to look like in the environment that it's going to be installed.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'm just going to check this microphone real quick for the tape. Is everybody here?
I think that one mic is dead. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I don't think this is set to music, so I apologize for the limited entertainment value here.
It's alive.
the landscaping does represent what's actually going to be installed as well and matches our submitted landscaping plans.
That it? Okay, now do you want to tell us what is going to happen out there? Is this all you, just going to be all self-sufficient? For your...
Yeah, I can call Matt up to talk about the commercial solar component and the business aspect of it. Is that the question you're asking?
No, I'm just wondering if you know,
What's it gonna power is what I'm interested in.
Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
You have an address.
Matthew Nelson, in 6100 Denver Parkway in Dublin, Ohio.
Okay, do you want to explain to us what we just saw and what all that means?
Yes. So Illinois is rolling out a solar incentive initiative statewide that will go, the program's been under works for the last couple of years and will go into effect January of 2019. And one of the requirements to have a qualified project is to have all public approvals for zoning to be able to go forward with your project in order to submit to be a part of this program. These are, to your question about what it's going to power, these are community solar projects, and so they will put power back onto the grid. This is all in Commonwealth Edison territory. So the power goes back onto the ComEd grid, and then we're responsible to sell that power. And this, so with a community solar program, that can go to either commercial or residential users. We're choosing to do a small subscriber base and sell the power to residences. So what that will end up being is a discount off on your electric bill. You can opt in, it's not mandatory to participate, but if customers choose to participate, they'll get approximately a 5 to 10% discount on their electric bill each month. We're working out the details with ComEd, but it will be a community solar rebate as part of their electric program. So this is a way, if you own a home and can't put solar panels on your rooftop residentially for economic reasons, or you've got shaded trees, or it doesn't face south, the roof doesn't face south, whatever that is, this is a way to participate in the solar program. It's really solar for everyone. You can actually get a benefit from the program.
How do you relay the power out?
We have interconnection agreements that we're negotiating with ComEd, so.
Work right with ComEd on this?
Yes. Oh yeah, we have applications underway and we're finalizing our
So
agreements.
it's the same application basically that the wind farms have, only they're solar panels.
I'm not as familiar with the wind farm program, but yeah, you put the power back onto the grid under the utilities regulations. They provide the infrastructure up to the point of interconnection, and then we connect to that. There's a key difference, I think, in solar programs versus, or solar systems versus wind in terms of, I mean, these panels, you won't see them beyond the screening and the security fence. There's no noise. Once they're constructed, it takes about 3 months to construct, and there's very little maintenance to do with it other than.
What would your rate be on something like that in kilowatts? What would you be charging your users?
Well, so we don't actually charge them for the power. We get a credit with ComEd, and then we will create a discount off of that. They'll still get a regular bill from the utility, and then there'll be a discount on their bill associated with this type of program if they opt in. They're not actually using the actual electrons from this system per se. It's going onto the overall ComEd grid.
So you kind of sell it to ComEd, and then ComEd provides it at a discount?
Distribute it, yeah.
Is that?
Indirectly, yes. We actually have to, IGS, the company I work for, we actually are electric reseller as well. So we're going to buy the power, then and then sell this discount to our residential customers in ComEd territory.
So the only thing it has to do with the racetrack is that it's located there.
They're the landlord, yeah. It's a long-term lease, there's power on. We think it's a great thing for the state of Illinois, for the city of Joliet, for the raceway itself, especially in such a marketable property. You know, they shoot down images.
I had images of the race cars going around the track and generating electricity.
They might be putting certain emissions into the environment, no criticism there, but we're trying to green it up. So.
Any other wisdom or questions from the board? Anybody in the audience that has any ideas or objections or concerns, would you like to come forward? I must swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, my name is Joanne Honey Otis.
You can lower that mic a little bit, honey.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you. My name is Joanne Honey Otis, and I have 20 acres of land right smack next to the Speedway. And I really like this idea as far as the solar thing. And I was wondering, I would like my land to be part of that.
Buy a condo at the racetrack.
I mean, I'm right smack right into it. And that's what I'm very much for all this, and I would like to be part of it too.
Well, good for you. Okay.
That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address.
West Jones, 17750 Schweitzer, Elwood. Okay, my property is also right smack in the middle of it. Okay,
You ought to get together.
I'm at the opposite side. I got the 10 acres immediately adjacent to it. I'm concerned about the visual effect that it has on our property. We are heavily affected by the largest unit you've got there, site East Central. Also, I'm concerned about the environmental impact on wildlife drainage. We have developed a wetland wildlife under the auspices of the the Illinois Department of Conservation in the Will DuPage Soil and Water Conservation District. So we're concerned about the impacts on wildlife and drainage into our property. The vegetation is a major concern to me. From what I've seen on the overlap, I'd like to see that video again, because I believe I saw something there that was a great deal of interest to me. The property that's in the view of one of the properties that's immediately adjacent, I believe, to the one side of the racetrack has got a lot of vegetation with evergreens on it and possibly a berm. Whereas what faces my property, it only shows a few small shrubs. And I invite any one of you or anyone else to come to our house, come into the kitchen window, look out, and that's what you'll see. That, what was it, 15,000 panels. So, vegetation and landscaping is a major concern to me.
All right.
And also, I'm concerned about the setbacks. It's only a 15-foot setback on that. I thought that would be quite unusual. And the follow-up maintenance to the vegetation. How do they go about doing that? And will they continue doing that? I have heard that some of these companies start out, take care of the landscaping real good for a couple of years, and then they forget about it.
Okay, thank you. Want to answer those questions?
I'll talk a little bit about the zoning components. Again, we're not seeking any relief from any setbacks or anything like that. So we're complying with the landscaping setbacks that are on record. Same thing with species and size of trees. The mature plantings comply with the ordinance as well. The maximum height of these are between 11 and 14 feet. The mature trees will be taller than that. And I think also the gradient needs to be taken into account because there's significant gradient over there if you look at our grading plans.
So that'll buffer your site from their property?
Yeah, again, with the maximum height of these panels, depending on the tilt being between 11 and 14 feet, and with the fencing surrounding it and the trees surrounding it, you won't see it in there. Also, solar panels, as they're designed, are designed to absorb light and heat, not reflect it. So I think Matt would say somewhere around 30% is the amount of reflexivity off of these panels. And so again, that really minimizes the amount of disturbance you have in the adjacent areas. As far as disturbing the soil itself, these systems are installed with vertical driven shafts, so it's not a big excavation project. It also doesn't change the pervious or impervious area because the water rolls right off the panels and grass is planted underneath. We also have clearance letters from IDNR and IHPA saying that there will be no impact to environment or historic structures. That work has already been done for all 4 of these sites.
Do you need permits from the EPA or anyone before you can do these?
Because it's not considered a disturbed area, you do not have to file for coverage under the general construction permit for the state, because the state only regulates projects that are over 1 acre of disturbed area. In this case, it won't be that. We're also not increasing the amount of impervious area in the current proposal. However, one of the conditions of approval had the switching of gravel to pavement. So in that case, we will have a small area that will be increasing the impervious area, but it won't adversely affect the drainage systems that are in place. We've completed those analyses as well.
How many other locations have you done this at?
We only have planning approval at 1 other location. As of
That
right
is
now.
where?
That's in Stockton, Illinois, which is way out west.
How long has that been in operation?
We don't have the construction. We finished the planning approval. So again, Matt can talk about the Illinois Power Authority and the program and the time frame for that. But we will not even seek building permits until next year. We're only trying to get the control of the land, the interconnection agreement with ComEd, and the local planning approval. Those are the 3 things that are required to apply for the IPA program.
To your knowledge, how much experience has ComEd had with this? Do they have these operations at various locations?
This is not the first year they've done this program. It's been, I believe, 2 or 3 years since they did the last program.
I know I get a lot of stuff in the mail about alternate powers right from ComEd, so I know they're actively involved in it.
Right. Do you want to talk about the program?
The volume of the program is going to drastically increase across ComEd as well as in the south of the state because of these incentives that are coming out in 2019. And it's a long-term program, renewable energy credits that you get that are providing the incentives that are driving the development of this. So this is going to, these types of projects are getting approved across various cities and counties across the state because of this incentive program that Illinois is rolling out.
Okay, thank you. Sir, do you have some comments? You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address.
Ronald Plum. I live at 17622 West Schweitzer Road, right next door to Mr. Jones. So I've got 15 acres on the bottom right-hand side of the east central location. I'm all for renewable energy. I think it's great. That'll be a great neighbor. They won't bother me. I won't hear any noise or any rackets, but just like the track, they're a great neighbor. They're only there a couple times a year. But the view would be the only concern that I have as a resident looking out my backyard. I love the fields. I love seeing, no action out there. I don't like warehouses, but I noticed there's a lot more vegetation around the other 3 locations where there's no residents that can look out their window to see the panels. There's huge evergreens at the helipad, but there's none at East Central. It looks like there's just a few scattered trees. And then you'll be able to see a 7-foot tall fence. And if these panels are 11 or 12 foot tall, then you're going to see those. Looks like there's tons of them out there. I don't really want to I'm all for it, but I don't want to see it. So if we can try to put some of the evergreens in the areas that you don't have residents, over where you have 2 residents. The one video showed, you know, tons of stuff around the hill again. So if we can get more vegetation to block that, because those trees only have leaves on them for 7 months of the year, but the rest of the year you got to see the fence and the panels.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I would ask, is that they increase the block.
Is there a reason that there's not more trees around that particular one than any other? Why it's not screened better? No? I mean, is there a technical reason why that?
It was just following the code. We instructed the landscape architect to essentially install or to design code minimum landscaping and screening.
Is there any problem with solving the gentleman's problem?
No, I don't see a problem.
We can
with
make
that at
that part of the condition, so.
Good.
Okay, anyone else?
I just also wanted to address another concern about the ongoing maintenance. There'll be grass planted under these panels. As Austin mentioned, the water runoff, snow melt drains right into the soil. It's actually really good conditioning for the soil long term. And compared to other industrial uses that would be permitted on this, it's a very low impact. And then we have every incentive to keep the landscaping maintained around those panels, because if it gets overgrown, that could start to interfere with the solar production that those yield. So we own the assets long term and
get together with the staff and the interested parties and work out this landscaping situation. Is that it? Anybody else? Chair's going to close the petition to the floor and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
I'll move to approve. We're doing this one at a time. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, we'll vote one at a time, and just as a matter of procedure, you can still, I would call if someone thinks of something and want to come back up and comment on one of the other sites. Just do them one by one.
Okay, so the first one is the Northwest Pond. Is that the first one?
Just go by the number.
Yeah, petition number 2018-36,
Okay,
which is the northwest pond of the Speedway.
Oh, of course. Well, that's not the real problem with the landscaping, but as long as the landscaping is kept up, yes, I'll make that a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition 2018-36. Call the roll.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the next petition on your agenda is petition 2018-37, and that would be the helipad lot of the Speedway. Is there?
This is basically the same.
Same thing, and I would just, for a matter of record, ask if anyone else wants to add anything regarding that.
So.
Nobody, I guess.
Seeing none.
We're not going to read the whole thing. Okay.
No, I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Same process over again. Any comments from anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition 2018-37 and asks for discussion and a motion.
I'll move to approve that with the condition about landscaping.
We have a second.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition 2018-37. Poll the board.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
And just to clarify, that condition will state that the petitioner shall work with city staff and any affected neighbors to supplement the minimum code required landscaping.
Yeah, the same conditions are going to apply to every petition, so. Okay, petition 2018-38.
Petition 2018-38 is the east central lot of the Speedway. That's the larger array.
Anyone in the audience have any comments? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve
I'll second with the condition.
with the condition of the landscaping.
There's a motion and a second to approve petition 2018-38. Poll the board.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
And Mr. Chair, the final petition related to this project is 2018-39, and that is the southeast outfield lot of the Speedway.
Anyone in the audience have any comments? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Move to approve it with the landscaping condition.
You have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition 2018-39. Poll the board.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
This will move on to the city council and city staff. No, I correct myself, it will not. That gets approved and those conditions would apply. We'll receive a letter shortly from city staff. The next case, Mr. Chair, on your agenda is case number 2018-40, and that is item G under new business public hearings. This is a series of variations to allow a second floor addition onto an existing building located at 721 Taylor Street. The petitioner is, and applicant is Joseph and Karen Diaz, and they are requesting a series of variations to allow a second floor addition and extension to an existing building. The zoning board makes the final decision for these variation requests, which include 1, reducing the existing non-conforming rear yard setback from 14 feet 11 inches to 4 feet 7 inches, thereby increasing the nonconformity. 2 is to continue the existing non-conforming 3-foot west side yard setback northward. And 3 is to increase the existing non-conforming lot coverage from 47% to 59%. Under site-specific information, the building in question is located at 719 through 721 Taylor Street, and it sits on a lot that is 62 by 120 feet, roughly 7,440 square feet in size. The lot also includes a single-family home located at 717 Taylor Street. The 2-story mixed-use brick building was built around 1926. The building historically housed a commercial use on the main floor and a residential unit on the second floor. From the 1930s through 1950s, the building housed a grocery and meat store known as Voidix on the main floor and shopkeeper's unit on the second floor. After which, the main floor of the building housed a florist shop, photography studio, and now a real estate office. The 1-story 4-car garage that extends off the rear elevation of the building was built in the second half of the 20th century. The property is zoned R-4 low-density multifamily residential district, and for this reason, the neighborhood commercial zoning does not meet any of the zoning requirements of the R4 zoning district. In 2015, the property was granted a variation of use to allow a real estate office, which is a B1 use in an R4 multifamily district. It was granted a variation to allow 2 main buildings on 1 lot. Also, a variation to reduce the required front yard setback from 25 feet to 12.4 feet for 717 Taylor, and from 25 feet to 1.4 feet for 719 through 721 Taylor. A variation to reduce the minimum side yard from 6 feet to 3.9 feet for 717 Taylor, and from 6 feet down to 4 feet for 719 through 721 Taylor. A variation to increase the maximum lot coverage from 30% to 47%. And finally, a variation to reduce the required off-street parking from 8 spaces down to 6 spaces. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is zoned R-2, single-family residential, currently a residential use. To the south is R4, low-density multifamily residential, which is the District 86 Administration Building. To the east is R-2, single-family residential, currently with a house. And to the west, R-4, low-density multifamily, that's currently Linda's Pizza and also a single-family home. Applicable regulations are yard and lot requirements, percentage of ground coverage, and findings of fact supporting a variation. The petitioners, Joseph and Karen Diaz, seek a series of variations to construct the second floor addition, a second floor courtyard with a pool, and a rooftop deck above the second story. The building was built in the 1920s as a commercial building with second floor residential unit. The couple owns and operates Taylor Street Realty on the main floor of the building. The couple intends to make the upstairs residential unit their primary home. The couple also own the other house located on the same lot at 717 Taylor Street. The site plan, floor plans, and elevations are attached. The 632 square foot addition makes the existing non-conforming building further non-conforming with respect to setback and lot coverage requirements for the R4 zoning district. The rear wall of the building to the north will be extended by 10 feet and accommodate a 300 square foot rooftop pool on the second floor, which would result in the building being 4 feet 7 inches from the rear or north property line. This 10-foot rear building extension also results in a continuance of the existing non-conforming 3-foot west yard side setback. With the new addition, lot coverage will increase from 52% to 59%. The property will continue to maintain the required 6 off-street parking spaces as well as the 4 garage spaces. The petitioners are working with ComEd to relocate utility poles in order to accommodate plans for the pool. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Petitioners here? Aye, you're all ready, Mark. You swear the evidence you're about to present the truth under penalty of law.
We do.
Name and address.
Joe Diaz, 719 Taylor Street, Joliet.
Karen Diaz.
Karen Diaz, 719 Taylor Street, Joliet.
Any comments you'd like to make?
Mostly, are there any questions from the board?
I think I'm just curious about this rooftop pool. I'm wondering how that's all gonna work out.
Well, we're working with our architect, and we still have to talk to a structural engineer and get all the details finalized and work with the pool people. It's been pretty tough talking to pool people this summer because they're quite busy, obviously. I really haven't gotten that far in the process yet. But we understand there's gonna have to be a lot of structural reinforcement done for the pool.
And then your plan is to move from Plainfield now, is that correct?
We're pretty much there now. We're getting our house ready in Plainfield to sell, so.
Well, I remember when the field across the street from me used to be where all the teams used to practice football and baseball and everything. I just thought maybe you were building a deck up there like the Cubs so they could sit out there and watch the grade school kids practice. I don't know. Okay. Any other questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Come on up. Is one of your swimmers from the neighborhood. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do. I'm Bob Knocktree. I'm the zoning coordinator for the Cathedral Area Preservation Association. I've read this whole package and the entire board has looked at it. We feel it's an improvement to the neighborhood. We're happy to have these two as residents in the neighborhood, and so CAPA has no objection to this petition.
Well, if you put up a diving board, be careful you don't bounce right off the deck. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion. Anyone want to approve this?
I approve.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next item is item 5H, a petition 2018-41. This is a public hearing on a special use permit to allow a women's re-entry house as an accessory use at Holy Hills Church located at 510 Columbia Street. The applicant is Pam Terrell, Community Services Director of Catholic Charities. The owner is Holy Hills Deliverance Church. The petitioner is requesting the special use permit to allow a women's re-entry house as an accessory use at Holy Hills Deliverance Church. The special use permit request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, the property in question is located at the southwest corner of Columbia Street and Park Street. It was home to St. Thaddeus Church, school, convent, and rectory until the diocese closed the church in 2005. Holy Hills Deliverance Church now owns a large church complex, which includes a 19,500 square feet of gross floor area within these connected buildings. Catholic Charities intends to operate the Women's Reentry House in the former convent portion, leasing approximately 4,000 square feet. The property is 150 by 132 feet, or 19,800 square feet in size, and it's currently zoned R-3 1 and 2 family residential. To the north is zoned R2 single family residential, currently a house and a parking lot. To the south is R2 single family residential and R3 1 and 2 family. To the east is R2 single family, and to the west is R2 single family, which is currently a parking lot. Applicable regulations include community residential homes, and we do have a definition for that in the zoning ordinance that's provided in the packet. Under discussion, they seek this again for a women's reentry program. It would house up to 8 women over the age of 35 who have recently been released from prison. The proposed use meets the city's definition of a, quote, community residential home, which is a dwelling unit owned or leased and operated by a sponsor to provide a living environment for 16 or fewer unrelated residents who operate as the functional equivalent of a family and who receive support services or are under the supervision of a sponsor. The city zoning ordinance requires a special use permit for community residential homes that locate in an R3 1 and 2 family zoning district and have 7 or 8 residents. Catholic Charities intends to operate the Women's Reentry Program in the former convent area of the church and will lease the space from the church. A floor plan and site plan is attached. Catholic Charities will also lease a portion of the large parking lot across the street from the church, located at the southeast corner of Columbia Street and Youngs Avenue, for staff, resident, and visitor parking. The parking lot was recently resurfaced. The program will allow these 8 women to live on site for up to 18 months. Catholic Charities will coordinate on-site supportive services. The program will be staffed with 1 full-time live-in staff member, a part-time live-in staff member, a case manager, and volunteers. A summary of the proposed re-entry program for this location can be found as Appendix A of the petition. Catholic Charities, in partnership with the Roman Catholic Diocese of Joliet, has conducted outreach to the surrounding area and community about their proposed plans, including holding 2 community forums at Our Lady of Mount Carmel and the Spanish Community Center, as well as visiting over 225 homes and businesses in the area. A full summary of their outreach can be found as Appendix C, and that concludes staff's report.
Mr. President. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
You can move the mic down. There you go. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, all. Catholic Charities is requesting a special use permit in order to convert the old and currently unused convent at Holy Hills Deliverance Church into a reentry program for up to 8 women. The space, which was formerly owned by St. Thaddeus Catholic Church and now owned by Holy Hills Deliverance Church, will be rehabbed for women between the ages of 35 and 55. These women are exiting an incarcerated setting to live in this supervised home that will be staffed and supported by Catholic Charities. Additional support will be leveraged from new and existing church partners and community stakeholders, as well as political leaders who are invested in assisting those reentering into our community in safe housing, providing linkage to employment, and help with resolving barriers to self-sufficiency. The goal of the program is to provide these ladies with enough resources so that they will have options available to them that will help them avoid further crime, and they will have the resources that they need to regain self-sufficiency and address trauma and other needs, preventing those from becoming independent. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have one. Why just 8 women? I've worked in many prisons, including a women's prison before. So I'm just wondering, I like what you're saying, but why just 8? Because they need, the service.
They do, and we're trying to make a dent in providing for this need, and housing is the most critical part of this type of a program. I visited Logan's Correctional Facility and participated in a forum with the women there, presenting to them what supportive services would be available to them upon exit by Catholic Charities. And they shared with me that their most important need is housing. And as you know, housing can be quite complicated, especially when you're talking about a dwelling for more than 8 individuals, as well as a welcoming community. We find that the support and the community that surrounds Holy Hills Deliverance Church in this space is extremely welcoming. We visited with people there who did not want to be living in an area with a large number of people in their community. They wanted something that was, manageable. And this is our first type project, and so we would like for it to be a success, and we would like for the community to support it. And many of them said that if they had when we did our canvassing, they said if they had a project like this available, that it would have saved them 2 years of struggle with getting back on their feet. So we want to start with 8 and grow the program in the future. Whether it could be at that, in that area is a different story. But this property seemed to fit with the size of our resources at this time.
One more question. Is there a school in the area anywhere?
I know we visited 10 businesses, but I don't recall that there's a school in the immediate vicinity.
Daycare? Any?
Those were not a part of the 10 businesses that were in the 200 home area that we visited. I do have a map that shows the area that we visited. If you'd like to see that, it's all bordered off.
That's okay. But I like what you're saying. But I just wanted to know, with daycare, is some of the things that they need. And I appreciate you coming up talking about it.
Oh yes, we do intend to link the women with their children. One thing that is great to know is that this will bring a resource to this area that they don't have. Currently, when they are released to this area, the nearest facility for women and support services on site is in Chicago. We don't have to send our women who are reentering into the community to Chicago when we could have resources for them here. And I'm just so happy that the community embraces it, and I really appreciate the partnership with Holy Hills Deliverance Church. They have welcomed this partnership, and many other partners are willing to join as well.
How do you pick the women that are going to be there? Are they sent to you, or do you screen them? Or what?
We will become a parolee site, and the goal is to get connected with these women in life skills programs at the facility where they're incarcerated, hopefully 6 months prior to their release.
Are they assigned to you, or do you pick which women you wish to have there?
We would be using criteria for the program to screen individuals who would be coming into the program. So one of the criteria that you heard, for example, they have to be at least 35 years of age. They cannot be arsonists. There's a whole list of criteria that they would have to meet in order to live in the house.
Are they allowed access and egress during the daytime, or?
I'm sorry, your question again?
Are they allowed access and egress during the daytime, or are they there constantly, or are they allowed to go out and work, or what?
Oh yes, employment is a huge piece of the program. In fact, it's key. And so we will have employment counselors working with individuals. We will have transportation for them to get to and from where they need to go.
There'll be curfews on them when they have to be back?
Yes, there is a host of program rules. Also, all of the women who are released usually are connected with their parole agents for up to 2 years. Of course, that is diminished, you know, as time goes on and they achieve success in the program.
Good.
Any questions?
No, I don't.
Anybody in the audience in favor? You want to up? You in favor? Come on up. Are you representing a group or?
I just want to quickly remind the zoning board, we have about 30 minutes left before the plan commission meeting starts. So we're going to try to move quickly through the rest, this case and the rest of them.
I usually do. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
Robert Fox, 823 Mount Court, Joliet, Illinois.
Go ahead.
I approve the
You're the principal
project.
stockholder, right?
Right. I'm the pastor of the church, Holy Hills Church. So we approve what the diocese is trying to do in the area to help these women. And when you get out of these situations, you need some help. So that's what the church is there. And we're a community-based ministry where we have other programs that we want to initiate for the community as well. So it's all about helping the people in the area. So I approve it. I second the motion. Beat you to it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? And is there anyone in opposition to this out there? No one in opposition? If the board has no further questions, I think we can just proceed.
I'll move to approve
We're going to
this.
close the petition to the
sorry.
floor and ask the board for discussion and motion.
Sorry, I will move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Good luck.
Okay, and this, just for a reminder, this will move on to the city council. We'll be in touch with the city planner on the date of that meeting. And your name? Pam. Okay, we make sure we have your name for the record.
All right,
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the 468 Collins Street. This is petition number 2018-42. It's a public hearing on a series of variations to allow the applicant is Alfonso Cesedo. This is variations to allow a 1,150 square foot addition to an existing commercial grocery store located at 468 Collins Street, and the zoning board does make final decision for these requests. Variations requested are the parking spaces reduced from 20 feet to 14 feet, 20 to 14. Landscape area adjacent to the public right-of-way reduced from 10 feet to 6 feet. Landscape area adjacent to residential district reduced from 15 feet to 5 feet. Landscaping area adjacent to non-residential district reduced from 5 feet to 3 feet. And rear yard building setback adjacent to residential reduced from 25 to 5 feet. The site is 12,970 square feet. It contains a 2,700 square foot, one-story building built in 1996, currently occupied by Carne Sierra, Rio Grande. The site also includes an accessory parking lot with 10 spaces, and the existing zoning is B3 general business. Surrounding zoning is B3 general business to the north, residential R3 to the east, commercial B3 to the south, and commercial and residential zone B3 to the west. The applicable regulations are as noted in the staff report. The proposed addition will include, addition I should say would be for a 46 by 25 foot addition to the building. The addition will contain a cooler, kitchen area, and additional floor space for the grocery store. Floor plans have been provided. The addition will be constructed with a brick veneer to match the existing building, and elevations have also been provided. The reduction of the rear yard setback adjacent to residential from 25 feet to 5 feet is in order to align the addition with the existing building wall. The petitioner is also requesting a variation to reduce the number of required parking spaces from 20 to 14. Per the zoning ordinance, the new combined floor area, which is 3,850 square feet, would require 20 parking spaces. The site currently has 10 spaces, and 4 new spaces would be added with the addition. Additionally, the petitioner is requesting landscape variations to reduce the width of the landscape areas in the front, side, and rear. These variations are needed to accommodate the additional parking spaces and the service drive access to the dumpster. The existing curb on Collins Street will remain to provide access to the parking lot and the service drive. A 6-foot wooden fence would be installed along the east side of the property as screening for the adjacent residential district, and the dumpster will be screened with a wooden enclosure. Plans have been provided. A site plan and landscape plan that best comply with city code will be required to be submitted with the building permit, and if conditions are attached, one, the suggestion is that the proposed building shall match the existing building materials and colors and shall comply with the city's non-residential design standards. And two, that a landscape plan shall be submitted and approved by city staff as part of the future building permit, and that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner's here. Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law. Yes. Name and address.
468 home address?
Yeah.
Or business address?
Home address.
Home 26013 South Kankakee Street, Manhattan, Illinois.
And your name?
Alfonso Cicero.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
Just hoping it gets approved. We bought the building. There was an old house there. We knocked it down, we cleaned up the area there, so but we'd like to add on something to improve the business, which the community has been asking. I've been in that area, built that building back in 1995.
Okay.
Can I ask? I have a question. What are your plans for the kitchen? I mean, why?
Well, it's a small, it's just like a cooking area for carnitas, menudo.
Oh, I see.
On the weekends.
For like,
yeah.
Okay, that you sell?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Just so we not have to buy them or bring them from the other location.
Any other questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next petition is 2018-43. This applicant is Innovated Staffing, LLC, Jasmine Ramirez, and the owner of the property is Smart Equity Joliet, LLC. This is a public hearing on a special use permit to allow a staffing agency at 423 Collins Street, and this request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board. This is a 6,200 square foot site containing an approximately 4,360 square foot two-story commercial building, which was built in 2000, and an accessory parking lot. The building has 2 tenant spaces on the first level and an apartment on the upper level. The vacant tenant space in question was most recently occupied by Liberty Tax Service. In October of 1997, the Zoning Board approved a series of setback variations in order to construct an office building. In 2011, the Zoning Board recommended to deny, and the City Council denied, a special use permit for a gold buying store at this location. The property is currently zoned B3 General Business District. The petition was filed August 10th of 2018, surrounding zoning, land use, and character. To the north, commercial zone B3. To the east is vacant property zone B3, general business. And to the south is commercial zone B3, general business. To the west, multifamily residential, which is zoned R4. Applicable regulations are general business district regulations for B3, special uses in the B1 neighborhood business district, and criteria for issuance of a special use permit. Innovated Staffing is requesting the special use for the staffing and recruitment office in an existing tenant space that was previously occupied by Liberty Tax Service. They will employ 2 full-time employees, and they anticipate seeing approximately 5 to 10 clients per day, with generally no more than 2 clients at a time. Most clients will be seen by appointment, but walk-in applicants are also accepted. The petitioner states that clients will be placed in temporary positions in assembly, production, and management roles with the intention of full-time placement. Although subject to change, the office hours of the operation would be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the petitioner has provided additional information about the proposed business. The site has 5 parking spaces in the front and 4 spaces in the rear, 2 of which will be used by the Innovative Staffing employees. The other commercial tenant is Cricket Wireless. A floor plan and plat of survey are attached. Should this property be this special use be approved, conditions would be as follows. 1, should the property be declared a nuisance, public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. 2, that the special use permit granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 180 days on the effective date of the ordinance. I won't read the rest, but that is standard language that we put for special use permits. Number 3 is that a business license shall be obtained, and that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here.
Good afternoon, my name is John.
Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
Name and addresses.
John DeTovo, the address 200 West Avenue, Chicago, Illinois.
Chris Trudy, 1301 Glen Myra Club Village.
Okay.
My name is John DeTovo. I am an attorney representing the petitioner present here with me. He is one of the co-owners of the business, Mr. Chris Trudy.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm happy to respond to any questions. I did have just 1 or 2 points to make, specifically in response to Mr. Thompson's questions to one of the earlier applicants. I believe one of the questions was, is there a demand for this business in the community? And our response would be, absolutely. There is a strong demand for this business. And in fact, that's the reason we're standing here before you today. Mr. Trudy's business has a number of existing clients that have operations in the Joliet area. And he has an existing office in Elk Grove Village. And these existing customers have requested that he, in fact, establish a local presence for the benefit of these clients of his, but also to serve as a resource to the community. So there is, in our view, a very strong demand for a staffing agency in this particular community. The other question I believe Mr. Thompson raised was, is there a potential for these clients or potential employees to gain full-time employment through the agency? Right. The answer is absolutely yes. To make clear, this is not what I would describe as a traditional day labor staffing agency. This is a well-established business. Their target employees or clients are going to be local residents who are going to be placed in assembly, manufacturing, and in fact some management positions here in the community. The expectation and the goal would be to establish a long-term relationship with these various clients in the community. Some of these are well-known. Costco is one of these existing clients. There's a Walmart distribution facility in Elwood, Illinois, that Trudy's business has an existing relationship with. And yes, there's a strong demand, a strong need. And in fact, as I said, they have requested that innovative establish a local presence to serve them. We're happy to respond to any other questions.
Well, I like the way you explained that. What are some of the other companies, real quick, that you deal with that's, you know, real good companies that the people of our community can get a job?
There's, one of them is Alpha, another one is Thai, NCI, the Costco Distribution Center,
sure.
Interstate, and we're working with Amazon also.
Okay, thank you.
All of them.
Just to clarify, they are working on establishing a relationship or discussions with Amazon. There's not yet an existing business relationship.
All of them you mentioned was warehouse companies. You had mentioned all other types of businesses, and you didn't mention any of them. What are the other manufacturing and all businesses?
The ones that I just mentioned.
Weren't those warehouses?
Yeah.
So you didn't mention any manufacturing?
Well, the warehouses were manufacturing of their type of product. So all these companies are different manufacturing companies or factories that
warehouse, the items.
Assemble stuff or package.
Any other questions? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? Is anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition and asks the board for discussion and a motion. Motion would be in order.
I'll move to approve this.
Is a motion to approve? Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
No.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
I'm gonna go no on it.
Mr. Hennessy?
I'm gonna vote aye, but I'm reluctantly doing it because we have approved one today and we have normally approved them, and I don't want to break precedent. But this board has frequently asked the city to enforce some sort of an ordinance limiting the number of these things, because with all the warehousing we've got, we're just being inundated. We're back where we were with the gold selling places that we used to have. And we just can't keep having there's just too many of them being involved. I know it's a free marketplace. I vote aye, and that's the only statement I'm gonna make, but I wish the city would take some action in limiting the number of these that are gonna be available.
So the motion passes 3-2, but the recommendation will move forward to the city council as a non-recommendation, and that'll go be in touch with the city planner regarding the date of the council meeting.
Let's go.
Next item on the agenda is petition number 2018-44. Applicant is Fleet Truck Sales Incorporated, doing business as Werner Enterprises, Inc. Owner is also Werner Enterprises, Inc., and the location is 738 Terminal Court. This is a special use permit request in order to allow the addition of accessory tractor and trailer sales as part of the existing trucking facility, and the Zoning Board of Appeals makes a final recommendation to the City Council. This 9-acre property is zoned I-2 General Industrial. Vacation of public utility and drainage easements were approved by the City Council back in November of 2016, and a sign variance to allow an LED electronic message center on a monument sign was approved by the Zoning Board at their meeting of May 2017. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character is all I-2 General Industrial District in all directions. All industrial development except for to the north is undeveloped. The applicable regulations include special use permits, chapter of the ordinance. Werner Enterprises is requesting a special use in order to add used tractor and trailer sales as an accessory use to the existing trucking business, which is in the Center Point Center I-80 Industrial Park. Werner Enterprises constructed a 73,000 square foot office and warehouse building that included 155 employee parking stalls, 73 tractor stalls, and 356 trailer stalls in 2017. The current proposal is to utilize some of the available stalls to sell previously used tractors and trailers. A site plan is provided. Werner is a nationwide trucking company with a fleet of more than 2,500 tractors and more than 7,500 trailers. They make a concerted effort to maintain their fleet, which results in demand for their used surplus. At full capacity, the south area could hold 30 tractors and the north area could hold 51 trailers for sale. The petitioner does not believe that they will ever achieve full capacity at any one time. According to the petitioner, the use of these areas for sales will not create a parking shortage for the existing facility, and the addition of the used tractor and trailer sales adequately meets the requirements of granting a special use permit that has been established within the city zoning ordinance and should not have any negative effects on the surrounding commercial area. If the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, the following conditions would be included. One, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit, and that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner here. Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
Name and address.
My name is Scott Springab, 724 Hillside Court in Algonquin. I'm with the Fleet Sales Department. I'll be the one selling the trucks and trailers.
Okay.
And we have over 7,300 tractors and 20,000 trailers.
Got it? Any questions?
That's it. Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
No questions, comments? Anybody in the audience in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition. Asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve. I second.
We have a motion second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
The final public hearing of the afternoon is 1851 Patterson Road, petition number 2018-45. The applicant is VCNA Prairie LLC, Paul Blattner. The owner is Patterson 357 LLC. This is a request for a variation of use in order to allow the additional location of a concrete batch plant, which is an I-2 general industrial use, within the I-TC or intermodal terminal industrial park zoning. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes a recommendation to the council for this request. Under site-specific information, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Joliet and the County of Will was approved by the City Council at a meeting on October 1st of 2013 for the subject site. It was formerly referred to as the Port of Will County. On October 15th of 2013, the City Council approved Centerpoint Joliet Terminal Railroad LLC's request to annex the 110-acre site and the zoning classification to I-TC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park for the surface area and for I-2 General Industrial for the subsurface area. The subsurface area was and is being utilized for mining purposes. An annexation agreement was also approved to allow the continuation of the existing heavy industrial uses and to allow for a future industrial development on the surface area. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is industrial unincorporated Will County, to the south is industrial unincorporated Will County, to the east is industrial I-T, and to the west is industrial I-2. Applicable regulations include the Intermodal Terminal District Category C regulations and the variation of use regulations. This variation of use is needed because the existing I-T zoning does not allow concrete batch plants as a permitted use, and the approved annexation agreement did not allow for the addition of non-conforming uses on the site. It has been determined that an amendment to the agreement is not required. VCNA Prairie Material currently has a site within the Port of Will County area, but would like to expand in order to meet higher demand for their product. The existing site is near the entrance of the vacated Patterson Road. The new site is southwest of this existing site. Besides the plant, the facility will include a cement storage and aggregate storage areas and a generator. A site plan is provided. There is also an adjacent water tower which allows connection to a water service. According to the petitioner, the addition of a concrete batch plant within the Port of Will County site would cut down on additional truck traffic on surrounding roads, which would result if they had to locate outside of the Port of Will County property. The proposed addition of the concrete batch plant is a compatible use with the other existing Port of Will County uses and should not cause any negative impacts to the Port of Will County site or the area. And that concludes staff's report.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Name and address.
Paul Blattner. Address is 509 North Oak Park Avenue, Oak Park.
Any comments?
No, sir.
Okay, any questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition, asks the board for discussion and a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next item, that concludes the public hearing portion of the agenda. There is no new public hearings, and there is, under item 7, there are no old business public hearings. And we've covered old business, no public hearings. Let's see, do we have one more? We have one more case. Variation of use to allow, this is item 8B, 2018-32, a variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit R3 use in an R2 single-family zoning district at 117 through 119 South Eastern Avenue. The applicant is Catherine and Lawrence Beavers, and they are also the owners. They're requesting this to allow the two-unit use in an R2 single-family zoning, and this must be considered by City Council following the Zoning Board recommendation. This two-story building sits on an 8,080 square foot lot. The property owners also own 2 adjacent parcels to the rear for a total of approximately 12,100 square feet. According to the Sanborn Fire Insurance Map of 1898, the building was constructed prior to 1898 as a single-family home. According to the 1930 Polk Street Directory, the home contained 2 households. The 1956 land use map shows the property as a 2-unit, and the 1965 zoning map shows the property was classified as R4, which was a 1 to 6 family residential zone at that time. Sometime after this, the property was rezoned to R3, which is the city's current classification for 2-unit homes. In 1995, the property was downzoned to R2 single family. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character is R-2 to the north, south, and east, and to the west is I-1 light industrial. Applicable regulations are the permitted principal uses in the R2 district, prohibited uses, and the variation of use provisions. The property owner purchased the property in March of 2018, believing the building to be a lawful 2-unit building, but the building was built as a single-family home prior to 1898. However, it was used as a 2-unit as early as 1930. City zoning also designated the property as multifamily until 1995, when it was reclassified to R2, as were many of the properties in the area as part of an effort to realign zoning with the existing and desired land use of the area. Currently, surrounding land uses in the neighborhood also consist of homes that were originally built as single-family homes, but have since been converted to 2-unit homes. A recent site inspection confirms that the building consists of 2 separate housing units with separate entrances and separate utilities, and appears to have been a 2-unit for several decades. However, the partitions that divide the 2 units can easily be removed as viewed by a recent site inspection. According to Polk Street directories from the late 1990s onwards, the owners did not rent out one of the units and may have been using the entire house. A floor plan shows that the current 2-unit layout is attached. The zoning ordinance requires 3 off-street parking spaces for a 2-unit building, and the building currently has parking for 1 vehicle in front of the home. A condition for approval, as well as for the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, is that the required off-street parking be created. On-street parking along Eastern Avenue is at a premium. The property has adequate space to accommodate the required off-street parking behind the house. All driveways must be paved, and this has also been made a condition of approval. Neighborhood Services recently inspected the property and found code violations that will need to be abated before a certificate of inspection can be issued. Neighborhood Services also suspected that work on the home may have been recently performed without permits and scheduled an administrative code hearing for September 11th. This petition was tabled from your August 16th zoning board meeting in order for the zoning board to learn the results of the administrative hearing. At the administrative hearing on September 11th, the hearing officer determined that the petitioner failed to obtain building permits for the work, and the petitioner was fined $150. City ordinance requires participation in the city's rental inspection program due to the nature and extent of the violations, whether or not this remains as a single family or as a 2-unit. So if the zoning board desires to approve the variation of use, the following conditions would be included. 1, that all illegally installed items shall be removed, proper permits obtained, the permitted remodel of the property shall be inspected and approved, and a certificate of completion obtained from inspectional services. 2, proper fire separation between units shall be installed. 3, that any existing violations from the recent neighborhood services inspection shall be repaired within 90 days of obtaining permits. 4, that an 18 by 20 paved parking area for the parking of 2 vehicles shall be created behind the house with access from York Avenue. 5, that off-street parking shall remain in the future. 6, that the use of the property shall not be expanded in the future. And 7, should the property be declared a public nuisance by the City Council, the variation of use is automatically revoked. That concludes staff's report.
Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law. Could I have your names and addresses? Speaking to the live mic there.
2561 Gulfview Drive, Joliet, Illinois.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make?
Yes, I'm Catherine Beavers. I'm the executive director. We provide transitional housing for veterans. This property was purchased as a legal 2-unit to use to house 2 veterans. We went through the hearing And we were not fined, we just had to pay the court
They
costs.
said we had to pay court costs. They said they didn't say anything about a fine.
Just
Do anything
court
illegal.
costs. Gabe would come out, see the building, told us what things we need to do to get it up to code. We have not been able to get permit to do the work. So they wanted to wait till after the zoning to determine what happened before we get permits to do the work.
Any questions by the board? Comments?
Wait, I do, just a minute. This was downzone though in 1995, so this is a single family.
It was picked up as part of a larger downzoning of the neighborhood.
So it is a single family zoning now.
It's currently zoned single family.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor? I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Name and address.
David Jones, 601 Northgate Lane, Shoreville. I'm the previous owner. Bought the place in like 1980. It was sold to me by Carter's Realty as a duplex. To me, it's always been a duplex. I don't recall this thing in 95 about it being downgraded, downsized. I usually try to be responsive to when I get a communication. When I was living in Joliet, I've been in Shoreville about it. You know, I try to respond to any communication I get. I look through my records. When I got the mortgage, it was Joliet Federal. I have slips from when I was making my payments on the mortgage from Joliet Federal. I keep a lot of stuff. The city of Joliet sent me a notice that required my response.
2 minutes.
My thinking, I would have done it. I don't know. I don't recall this, this 1995 zoning change. Either I didn't know what it was, or, I can't explain why I don't have any recollection of it. But like I say, when I got the place, it was a duplex. I lived in it was a duplex because I lived on one side and I went to the other side to a guy I knew.
We were surprised the title search.
Talk in the
We were
mic.
really surprised when they did the title search, they didn't pick that up. It was sold to us as a legal 2-unit building. So our goal was to house 2 veterans there in the building.
And you haven't started on any work with the violations because you're waiting to hear about what?
They wanted to wait until after the zoning before they would issue permits to do the work.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Excuse me, from my understanding, when I went to the September 11th meeting, and they said we wouldn't find you wouldn't find any violations. We just charge you money for court costs. That's what
You do realize that some of this work doesn't require any permit, like to scrape and paint a window, that doesn't require any permit at all. You haven't done any of that though. Thank you.
Any other questions by the board? Anybody else in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition, asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to deny the petition. Call the roll.
Mr. McCauley?
No.
Wait. We need to clarify. It's a motion to deny, so you have to be careful about how you're making this. I would suggest that the motion be withdrawn and that someone make the motion in the affirmative, because then a yes vote is a yes and a no is a no.
Right.
Otherwise, it gets a little confusing. You can keep your motion the way it is, as long as you know the motion is to deny. So if you say no.
You're saying we should say we make a motion to approve and let those who vote no, vote
That's
no.
correct.
That's what I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
No, there can be a second. There's not going to be a second.
Okay, so now we'll make a motion to deny.
Okay, go back to
Motion
your...
to deny. Anybody
Motion
wanna
to
make
not,
that?
to deny.
I second the motion to deny.
Hold the board. Is the motion a second to
So we're-
deny?
your
If you
motion-
vote yes, you want it to be denied.
Say yes,
If you
you
say
want it.
All right,
yes,
I'm motioning, all right, I'm gonna deny. Okay.
it's a yes.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
I want it to be approved, so.
He votes no to deny.
No to deny.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Thanks.
The motion fails on a 2-3 vote, and the recommendation will go, a non-recommendation goes to the city council.
It doesn't go 2-3, it was 4-1.
Three voted. We have 3 no votes on the motion and 2 aye votes on the motion.
Motion was to deny, right?
The motion was to deny, so an aye vote
vote is it to
is to
vote?
deny, and a no vote is to say it's okay, right?
Five votes total. And two members voted aye and 3 voted no.
No, I voted to deny.
He voted to
it.
deny. Mr. Thompson, I think.
Voted no?
Mr. Thompson was the only person who voted to.
Okay, so she has to correct. All right, so it's 1 to 4. All right, we'll correct that. That goes on to the city council, full city council for consideration.
Motion to adjourn?
Last portion of the agenda, there's public comments if anyone wants to add anything regarding non-zoning board agenda items. If not, the motion would be for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn? All
I
those in
move to
favor
adjourn.
signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.